The struggles of modern dating, my experience. I sat at my kitchen table, staring blankly at my phone as I swiped through Tinder. The familiar routine had become just that, routine. Another profile, another smiling face holding a cocktail, another beach vacation photo, another filtered selfie. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if it was even worth swiping right, then sighed and closed the app. Dating wasn't supposed to feel this exhausting. A few years ago, it was fun, exciting even, meeting new people, going out for drinks, laughing over shared stories. But now it felt like a part-time job, a job with long hours and no pay, where effort rarely produced any meaningful result. The quiet hum of the fridge was the only sound as I sat there, feeling the weight of yet another evening spent alone, wondering how dating had become so hard. My first real wake-up call that dating had turned into an uphill battle came after my date with Emily. We'd matched on Bumble, and for once, things actually seemed to click right away. We were both into hiking, both loved 80s movies, and we even shared a mutual hatred of pineapple on pizza. She had a dog, too, a huge plus for me. For a couple of days, we messaged back and forth about everything under the sun. We even joked about doing a John Hughes movie marathon since The Breakfast Club was a favorite for both of us. The anticipation of meeting her in person felt exciting, like maybe this time it would work out. Maybe this was the connection I'd been searching for. We agreed to grab coffee at this little cafe downtown that she recommended, and I thought this could really be something. The day of the date, I was feeling good. I showed up a bit early, found a nice corner table, and waited for her to arrive. When she walked in, she smiled, waved, and my heart did that little flip it does when you're genuinely excited to meet someone. She looked just like her pictures, maybe even better in person. We ordered our drinks and settled into conversation. For the first hour, things seemed to flow pretty smoothly. We talked about our favorite hiking spots, shared some funny dating app horror stories, and laughed about the ridiculous plots of 80s movies. But then, something shifted. She started checking her phone more, her responses got shorter, and the spark I thought we had just dimmed. By the end of the date, it felt like she was barely engaged. I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was just nervous or distracted by something else. But when I messaged her the next day to suggest a second date, she ghosted me. No explanation, no awkward "it's not you, it's me" message, just radio silence. I checked our last conversation, replayed the entire date in my head, wondering where things went wrong. Everything had felt so normal, so promising, but she just vanished. This wasn't a one-time thing. Ghosting had become a regular part of my dating life, especially with online apps. I'd spend time messaging someone, feeling like there was potential, only for them to disappear without a word. Each time it happened, I couldn't help but wonder, is it me? Am I saying something wrong? Or is this just the way modern dating works now? The whole thing left me feeling confused and frustrated. Then there was Jessica. We met through a mutual friend, so I thought this time might be different, more organic. We grabbed drinks at a cozy bar downtown, and I tried my best to be respectful, thoughtful, and attentive. I held the door open for her, offered to buy the first round, and made sure to keep the conversation flowing. At first, it seemed like we were hitting it off. We talked about work, our hobbies, and she even mentioned that she'd recently gotten into photography, which I thought was pretty cool since I dabble in that too. But by the end of the night, I could tell something was off. She seemed distant, like her interest had faded, and when I texted her the next day to ask her out again, she responded with, "You're a really nice guy, but I think you're trying too hard to impress me." That one stung. I thought I was being respectful, but apparently, I'd come off as trying too hard. Was I supposed to be more laid back? Should I not have paid for the drinks? I genuinely didn't know anymore. It felt like I was constantly second-guessing every move I made, and no matter what, I couldn't seem to get it right. The apps weren't working, meeting people through friends was a bust, and honestly, I didn't even know where people met in real life anymore. College had been easy. There were always parties, events, and random encounters where you just naturally meet someone new. Now, in my late 20s, those opportunities seemed to have disappeared. I even tried joining a local kickball league, thinking it would be a fun way to meet new people. But most of the team already knew each other, and even though I had a good time playing, I still felt like the odd one out. Conversations stayed friendly but surface level, and it didn't feel like anyone was really open to meeting new people. And don't get me started on the bar scene. Going out to a bar alone to meet someone is like walking into a group of people who already have their own worlds set up. Everyone's there with their friends, hanging out, not looking to meet anyone new. I can't count how many times I've gone out only to feel invisible, standing at the edge of the crowd. I'll admit the pressure gets to me sometimes. Social media doesn't help. Seeing old friends getting engaged, married, having kids. It's easy to feel like I'm falling behind, like there's this invisible clock ticking down, reminding me that I should have things figured out by now. Some of my friends tell me to just have fun, don't take it too seriously. But that's easier said than done. It's hard not to feel like I'm doing something wrong when nothing seems to work out. And even when I do get a date, it often feels more like a job interview than anything else. I can sense that unspoken checklist we're both working through in our heads. What do you do for work? What are your long-term goals? Do you want kids? It's like dating has become this transactional process where we're both trying to figure out if the other person is worth investing more time in. I miss the days when it felt more organic, more exciting. Honestly, I'm still not sure what the answer is. I keep trying to put myself out there, but each rejection or ghosting chips away at my confidence just a little bit more. It's tough to stay hopeful when it feels like I'm doing everything right and still coming up short. I'm a decent guy. I have a good job, I take care of myself, and I try to be thoughtful and respectful. But in this modern dating landscape, it's hard not to feel like I'm somehow falling short. Update on my dating journey. It had been a few weeks since my last attempt at dating, and I was officially burned out. The endless loop of swiping, messaging, and ghosting had worn me down, leaving me more frustrated than hopeful. Sitting at my desk, I mindlessly scrolled through my phone, half-heartedly checking dating apps that I no longer believed would lead anywhere. Just as I was about to toss my phone aside in defeat, a message popped up from my friend Greg. Yo, you still up for trivia night this weekend? A couple of US are going. We could use your useless knowledge. Might be good to get out. I stared at the message for a second. I wasn't exactly feeling social, but then again, maybe getting out of the house and stepping away from the online dating scene was exactly what I needed. No swiping, no worrying about sending the perfect first message. Just some good old-fashioned hanging out with friends. After a few seconds of hesitation, I typed back, "Yeah, I'm in. Could use a night out." I walked into the crowded bar, hearing the hum of conversation, laughter, and the low background music mixing with the clinking of glasses. Greg waved me over to a booth near the back where he and a few others were already settled in. The table was full of familiar faces, some friends from work, our mutual friend Sarah, and a few new people I hadn't met yet. The vibe was relaxed, and everyone was chatting casually as the trivia host rattled off the first round of questions. "Mike, over here," Sarah called out, pulling me into the group before I had a chance to sit anywhere else. "You're on my team tonight, no excuses. We need your weird movie knowledge." I couldn't help but laugh. "My extensive knowledge, you mean? I take this role seriously." Sarah rolled her eyes but grinned. "Yeah, well, let's see if it actually helps us win tonight." The game kicked off, and for the first time in weeks, I wasn't thinking about dating apps, first impressions, or whether someone was going to ghost me. I was just enjoying myself. We were halfway through the trivia rounds when I noticed one of Sarah's friends sitting across from me, Emma. I hadn't really talked to her much yet, but every time she chimed in with a comment, it was sharp and witty. It was clear she was quick on her feet. During a lull between trivia questions, she caught me looking her way and smirked. "So, you're the resident movie expert, huh? Or is Sarah just making things up to boost our odds?" I chuckled, shrugging casually. "Let's just say I know enough random facts to make me an asset in trivia. I'm your guy if you ever need obscure John Hughes quotes or pointless superhero trivia." Emma raised an eyebrow, her lips curving into a smile. "John Hughes, huh? That's bold. You one of those Breakfast Club diehards." Her sarcastic tone made me grin. "Oh, Breakfast Club is solid, but if you ask me, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is where John Hughes really shines. It's a masterpiece." She tilted her head thoughtfully. "Respect. Most people just ride the Ferris Bueller train and call it a day. but you actually have taste." I laughed. "High praise, I'll take it." The conversation flowed effortlessly after that. I found myself drawn to her quick wit and laid-back demeanor. There was something refreshing about talking to someone without the looming pressure of, is this going to turn into a date? Or am I impressing her? Instead, we joked about trivia, movies, and exchanged bad dating app experiences. I told her about the time I spent 3 days texting a girl about the Breakfast Club before she ghosted me, and she countered with a story of how one guy spent their entire first date trying to convince her to invest in cryptocurrency. As the trivia rounds came to an end and the group settled into more relaxed conversations, I found myself talking to Emma more than anyone else. The rest of the group was caught up in their own conversations, but she and I seemed to have fallen into a comfortable rhythm. "So, what do you do when you're not dominating trivia nights?" I asked, genuinely curious. Emma leaned back in her chair and crossed her arms. "I'm an editor for a local magazine. It's mostly fluff pieces, but every now and then, I get to work on something interesting." "What about you?" "I work in marketing," I said, taking a sip of my drink, "mostly trying to make boring things sound exciting. It's a lot less glamorous than it sounds." She smiled. "Ah, so we both spend our days trying to make things seem more interesting than they really are. At least we're good at pretending." There was something easy about the way she spoke. It felt less like an interrogation and more like a genuine interest in getting to know each other. And for the first time in a long while, I wasn't overthinking what to say next. As the night wore on, Greg and Sarah started organizing everyone for the end of the night check. People grabbing their coats, settling up their tabs. I felt a twinge of disappointment, not wanting the night to end just yet. Emma must have felt the same because she lingered by the bar with me as the rest of the group slowly dispersed. "Tonight was fun," she said, fiddling with her phone. "Way more fun than I expected, actually." "Yeah, same," I agreed. It was a nice break from, well, everything. There was a moment of quiet between us, not awkward, just comfortable. I decided to take a shot and not let the night end on a what if. "You know, I don't usually do this, but maybe we could hang out again sometime? Like, outside of trivia." Her eyes flicked up to mine, a small smile forming on her lips. "I'd like that. Here, give me your phone." She took it and quickly typed her number in before handing it back. "Text me sometime. Maybe we can settle that John Hughes debate." I laughed, pocketing my phone. I'm always ready to defend planes, trains, and automobiles. You'll see. The next morning, I woke up with a groggy head but a clearer sense of optimism than I'd had in a while. I reached for my phone, half expecting to see the usual slew of work emails and app notifications. But instead, there was a text waiting from Emma. "So I've been thinking, we need to plan that John Hughes marathon. I'll bring the snacks, you bring the hot takes." I smiled down at my phone, feeling that flicker of excitement I hadn't felt in what seemed like ages. Maybe this time things would be different. Maybe it wasn't all about the apps and strategies and trying to figure out what people wanted. Maybe it was about being open to the connections that came when you least expected them. For the first time in a while, I didn't feel like I was playing a game I didn't understand. I didn't feel like I was trying to impress anyone or walk that fine line between too much and not enough. I just felt normal, and that was enough. I replied to Emma's text, laughing at how easy it felt. "Deal. I'll even let you pick the first movie. But fair warning, I'm prepared to win this debate." As I got ready for the day, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of hope. Sure, dating wasn't easy, and the apps hadn't been kind, but maybe I'd been focusing on the wrong things. Maybe it wasn't about how many matches I could get or whether I said the perfect thing in a message. Maybe it was about taking a step back, letting things happen naturally, and being open to the unexpected. Meeting Emma at trivia hadn't been planned. It hadn't followed any of the rules I thought I needed to play by. It just happened. And maybe that's what I'd been missing all along. The possibility of something real when I stopped trying so hard to find it. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't dreading the idea of dating. I was excited. Who knew a random trivia night would make all the difference?